All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Geopolitical Trends, where truth matters. Excited to be with you. As always, I have an interesting topic. I am going to be talking about Deepseek, China's AI, and what does it mean. Now, to those who say, well, this is more of a technological aspect, which is the case. However, there is an angle geopolitically and militarily, if I may add. So this is what I'm going to be providing you my own analysis about today, and I'll be happy to answer some questions towards the end. But first, let's say hi, our wonderful community. Cam35, good to see you. Oh, I can do it better and at a lower cost. You are indeed spot on, Cam35. And we will talk about the cost for how much Deepseek cost versus what Mr. Trump is suggesting from investors to put money on the table for the AI. Willie Holman, as always. Timeline Dunkley, as always. Mohammed Mazharuddin, good to see you. Anna Adi, good to see you. SK Wong, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while, man. Good to see you. Truth Seeker, as always. Abdul Fal, Hanging G, good evening to you as well. Who else is here? Alice Talokin, good to see you. Thunderbolt Designs, good to see you. And Francis Tango, as always. YT, good to see you. Guys, let's get into our conversation. I'm excited about it because I spent last night, about part of the early evening, just reading up stuff to catch up on. So I have some links that I'm going to be sharing with you. I read some articles by some tech analysts. They deal only with technology. So it was very insightful to read their assessments as to where things are going forward. So, well, first I need to share one thing with you about just what's going on. And this image is with Mr. Trump. Let's see it here. So why is this important? I just wanted to highlight to you that President Trump now is talking with Microsoft. Here's the key. With Microsoft, asking them to acquire TikTok. So, and that we'll see the sort of a competition about. No. Let's first of all put the dots on the letter what Microsoft is notorious for. First of all, the truth just came out about Microsoft was the one providing the Israeli IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, with all the tech aspects starting when the war in Gaza started. That was Microsoft that paved the way for all that, technologically speaking. So, let alone the owner of Microsoft, you know who he is, Evil Bill, what he is planning on doing, especially now with Africa trying to purchase some lands in Africa. Africa, be aware and be careful. Ask India what Bill Gates did in India, so they'll get an idea of what's going on. Now, Mr. Trump is reaching out to Evil Bill Gates that is, and asking him to acquire TikToks. You all know what it means, right? Because now, and I don't think so. I don't think so. China's gonna even sell that. Don't sell it. And I already asked you guys that question, and we did a survey. 89% of you said no, meaning China should not be selling the TikTok to anyone in the U.S. and rightly so. So, all right, let's talk about our topic here today. So, like I mentioned earlier, I'll be talking about Deepseek, but again, I am going to be talking about the big picture of all this, because here is the hard truth and the reality of this. With the advancements of the AI, so you're going to have to wonder now, because history is sort of provide us those trends for us to learn from and learn about. Because here's the thing. The ascendancy or rise of any nation or the fall of any nation, depends greatly on sort of, when it comes down to AI, how fast and how efficient it's going to sort of collect or harness or manage the development of the artificial intelligence. Well, apparently with Deepseek, China proved that it could. So, and this is why the West now is playing catch up. So, and this is where, to me, the case of China's Deepseek is a case in point. And this is what we're gonna be talking about in quite detail. Let me put. I don't know if I put the questions for you guys, because we always have those sort of. Yeah, I did. So let's share the questions with you guys. Yeah. So how significant is this announcement that the Deepseek, because it was just on January 20th of this year, one on the market for everybody to use? That's another key, which we'll get into that. Oh, this is wrong. Sorry, guys. I guess I didn't update this one, but I do have the questions right here. So let me put it up and just update. Because those will be also the key points that I'm going to be talking about. So here the question: how significant is this development? The other thing is the timing of it. Why now? Yeah, I know it just happened in January 20th, but this program that the Deepseek AI has been in the works for 2 years. Of course, it just reached this point where now it was fully developed and launched on the market. And third question is, what are the geopolitical, economic, and military impact? Because this will have one, and I will provide you examples to highlight or to make my point. So like I said, I had a chance to read some articles last night, and I'm going to be providing the link. One that caught my attention was the one by none other than Timothy Prickett Morgan. It was a great article, and the guy is he's a tech savvy. He talks about he's a tech analyst. So, and this is where I couldn't agree more with his assessment that in the West we've been calling it now deep fake or deep stay or deep sell-off or whatever term, because we wanted to undermine the impact of that. Because there is one thing that is sort of for sure is that most analysts in the AI field in the West were stunned and shocked and surprised, because these developments and the launching of Deepseek brought them down, meaning the Western analysts and those who are saying, oh, the AI in the West is the best and so forth, brought them down to their knees. That's how I look at it, because that is the whole idea of when we think about what is the importance of what this development of this Deepseek, which is a Chinese development that is. So the idea that when we think about from around the world, everybody could like be so astonished, if I may use the term. So like I said, in history, you look at any technological developments, once a nation manages that and develop it the right way, efficiently, costly, in a cost manner, it tends to impact the progress of that particular entity. So, I mean, I can give the example for us here back in the early 90s with the dot-com bubble and how it moved forward from commerce to you name it. So the same arguments I can make. And even there are those who are saying, well, the fall and the rise of development of countries and so forth depends mainly of how this artificial intelligence is going to be deployed. So the others, of course, that have been arguing this is going to pose now an existential threat to humanity. I can see the argument to a degree for that. But I can also counter argue that by saying, if really governments, not just one, because this shouldn't be in the hand of one entity, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Should one country and one country only, doesn't matter which country is, should only one country controls this AI sector or domain or space? Just please answer in the chat box, yes or no. We're not talking China, I'm talking US, we're just saying in general terms, should any country has the sole authority to control this domain, yes or no? So, and this is why I will say from my perspective, the need for some sort of developing in coordination and in cooperation with all countries involved for some sort of regulations that can manage the framework regarding these aspects when it comes down to the possibility of this AI challenging the humanity, if I may use the term. So, well, let me go back to my article by Timothy Prickett Morgan and highlight some key points which you need to know and understand. So, of course, we have to understand also the history of where this Deepseek came from and came about. So, the AI Deepseek, that is, which is an artificial intelligence platform, that is, was founded by none other than Liang Wenfeng. I was trying to locate. Let me see if I could find it, but I couldn't. At least for the short time that I had, I couldn't find the picture of the individual. So I'm not gonna waste too much time here. We'll move on with that. So, and this was developed in May 2023, and I confirmed this information in the article by Timothy Morgan, and it was accurate. So, and this was spun out of what they call the higher flyer AI, and this is technological domains, guys. In my field, I'm gonna be straightforward about this. However, I'm just going to be providing you a brief background about this, but I am going to tackle the geopolitical, the military, and the economic dimensions to all this. So, and here is the thing. This Deepseek, so when it was effectively a spin out of the higher flyer AI, which was sort of an investment for about $8 billion at the time. And it was under the management, was created to employ AI algorithm that was exactly for that purpose. Why? To trade in a various kinds of financial instruments. So it was limited to the financial transactions. So, and this, it has been under the radar since August 2024. Why is that? It's been under the radar because at that time, meaning August 2024, which was only 6-7 months ago, Deepseek published a paper describing a new kind of load balancer that it has created. And I was able to track this one, and I did find it without going into the technological aspects of it. Suffice it to mention to you, there are two differences between Deepseek R1 and Deepseek V3, and I'm gonna just share a link with you so you can see it with your own eyes here. Then I'll move on into my own analysis about the geopolitical, military, and economic aspect. So here's and I'm gonna provide you the link for all this, just for you to see the difference here to where it was and to where it is today. So if you notice, the first model was Deepseek R1, and that's been developed now into Deepseek V3. Very, very interesting. I don't understand the ins and outs of the tech aspects of it. All I know is that the new model that's been developed had major improvements in it. So, and this is where that idea of understanding these developments of what this is all about. You're talking about a major thing. And this is why on January 20th of this year, Deepseek rolled out its Deepseek R1 model and moved forward with the V3 model. This is what this is all about. It's because the ability, what this program can do. Second thing is, mind you that it cost about $5 million to put this together at that time. How much is Trump is calling for? Well, here is what Mr. Trump is doing now. Now he is calling on those individuals here to, and those are involved in the tech industry in the US. So because President Trump wasted no time in announcing Stargate's initiative that's going to be participated by those three individuals there. Those are from the SoftBank, Oracle, and the tech giant OpenAI. Those are the heads of those three entities. And for how much they are asking? They're asking for $500 billion And it just shows you right there something is fishy about all this. Here is an AI that is now it's the Deepseek, which is everybody can use. As a matter of fact, once they released it in China, they made it for everybody. And I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna even try it to see how it works. Because here's the thing I want to share with you that I tried the AI here. I wanted to just one time to put up some sort of a script of sort or think of something. And when I did that, I posed the question and I kind of collected the information that AI provided me. And when I read it, it was very skewed towards one specific direction. Very interesting. So, and I'll give you the example. When I did it with a question about where China's moving forward when it comes down to the global stage. So I want to pose that to the AI and I wanted to see what it'll come up with. And what I came up with is that, of course, everything about communists, okay, everything about CPC, everything about taking control over the world, everything about that trap. All this was mentioned in that AI request that I did because I wanted just to test it to see. And right there, I became convinced, and I was convinced before anyway. I cannot depend on AI to tell me what I am going to be sharing or stating or whatever. There is no way I will do that. So, and this is what I want to do. What I wanted to try later on, I want to try this Deepseek AI platform. Suffice it to say, the importance of this now is that it's in the open. And now in the West, we are playing catch up, especially with the US now. This is why you hear about the investments of $500 billion. It's no different than what we have been doing when it comes down to the military apparatus. How much money do we spend on developing this and that and the cost of it? How much the Chinese develop their stuff, how much the Russians, other countries as well. So I highlight to you where that discrepancy is, and it's very, very interesting to understand. So this idea that Mr. Trump is calling about this largest investments in AI infrastructure history, excuse me, the largest AI infrastructure project in history for the, we talk big, we talk big, we inflate whatever. When in reality, guys, there is one factor that we don't even address in right now. And you know what that is? Is we don't have the infrastructure, the human brains that's going to be dealing with that infrastructure. Why? It's because look at our STEM, the science, math, and technology. How many graduates do we produce a year here versus what China does? Does anybody know in the numbers? If you will be kind, just share it with the community. How many graduates we produce in the US versus in China when it comes down to STEM graduates, science, math, and technology. So, and because in the AI, that's what you're going to need. Later on, we're going to be talking about the infrastructure for all this. Do we have the infrastructure when we couldn't even fix our own bridges, roads, high-speed trains, and what have you, or even the power grids? Because this AI, if used here in the US, can you imagine the pressure it's going to put on power grids here in the US, let alone an infrastructure that is so old? So, and I'm not talking negative about my country here. I am presenting the facts where I see the problems down the road. So when we talk about this Stargate initiative, it's nothing but hypes. Be already now talking about putting $100 billion investments into all this. Where this is going to come from and what for, and who's going to benefit from it? Because remember, this is going to be controlled. If once it's done here in the US, if it's done, it's going to be controlled. It's no different than what Google is doing. It's no different than what Facebook and all that. Microsoft, they control it. What Deepseek did is they gave it to the masses in the open. Here it is. Use it for free. You see the difference, right? And that is what I was trying to point. Let me see your answer in the chat box, guys. If you happen to know the number of Oh, 4.5 million per year. Marco, that's what you said. Okay, let me see if someone else. Does anybody have a different figure? I do know it's about over 2 million, to my knowledge. Over 2 million a year. So thank you for sharing that. So 40,000 in China, 10 in the US. So yeah, thank you, AO, for sharing that. So Al-Saluk in 100 million working in STEM in China, if I recall. So that just give us an idea of the, I mean, it's a reality. You know, our education system is not set up to really push the boundaries when it comes down to the intellectual capacity of the students, because in classrooms nowadays you have to worry about how students feel if you say something wrong that offends them or bothers them. You know, what have we become? And for me personally, and I speak for myself, I will not speak for anyone else. That's also one of the reasons why I left this education here. I'd rather teach elsewhere, where students still have respect for professors and still have respect for classroom, still have respect for learning, still have respect for observing the law and respecting the law and the traditions and so forth. We don't have that here. It's gone. Sadly, but it is. Excuse me. So when you hear about these investments, you know, don't have your hopes on it, because those three individuals right here with Mr. Trump, you're looking at the SoftBank, which is led by Masayoshi Son, who's in the middle right there, and who will serve as a chair and be responsible for financing the venture. OpenAI, that's Sam Altman. Sam Altman is the one on the right here. So that's Sam Altman, who oversees operational responsibility. And Oracle's, which is Larry Ellison, that's the one in the left right here. He's the one who will join the leadership team, bringing his expertise in data center infrastructure. Yeah, all this is good and all that, but where is the brain power that's going to be doing all the development? I mean, you look at now, most of the scientists, professors that teach here in the US and are Chinese have already left. Some of them are leaving. Remember the one I shared with you recently about that scientist from, she just went back to China. Let me see if I can pull it up again, if I still have it. I don't think so. No, I hope I did, but it's not here. Yeah, I don't have it. Anyway, let's move on. So that's my point. So when we talk about all this, it's nothing but hype. So now here's the thing I need you to understand. One of the challenges that's going to be here in the US is with this. If they are to go with this in investments, you're looking at one problem. The first one is the rising electricity demand for all this, because all those data centers requires more electricity. Electricity requires an upgrade of the power grids, which we haven't done forever. This is no different than our bridges, no different than our oil refineries, no different than our airports, no different than our cargo ships and all. Nothing has been upgraded. So because of the corruption that exists in the system. So, and this is where that difference that I am trying to highlight to you here. So this is going to put a massive strain on power grids. So then, of course, which will drive up the cost. Americans are already, when I say Americans, average citizens, they are already struggling economically. They're realizing the money they make, it's not enough to sustain just a basic level of life. You know, I'm not talking some riches here, just a basic. American families are struggling. So, and let alone what our government is doing by sending more money overseas, You can see what's going on right there. So and that is big, the difference that I'm trying to highlight. So I'm going to be providing you now 3 examples of the idea of the geopolitical and the economic and military. So those are the key things that I'm going to be trying to share with you. But before I move forward, make sure please to subscribe if this is your first time here, because the analysis you hear on this platform here, it's slightly and very different than elsewhere. You might not even hear it elsewhere. So if you are learning and enjoying this kind of free episodes here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button in order to share this with everybody else in the world, because they deserve, like you do, hearing the truth. And thank you all for your support. So let's get into our what we're gonna get into. We're gonna get into the oh, by the way, I forgot to. I'm gonna put the link for you guys in the description for those who might be first time here. Here is the link if you would like to support the channel just by subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. As I said, I'm gonna divide this into 3 segments. So I'm gonna start with the geopolitical aspects. Why is this important again? Because you're gonna have to understand that, like I mentioned at the beginning, the rise and fall of any nations, especially now with the development of AI, is going to be depending on how it's going to manage and develop this artificial intelligence. So yes, the others are saying, well, it's a problem for existential threat and all that stuff. Yeah, all that, it's to a degree, if you let that AI direct itself. Because I did hear something about when somebody asked AI here in the US, and the AI was asking for the nuclear codes. So yeah, there are problems with all this, but at the same time, that is not what I'm going to be focusing on. I'm going to be focusing on the geopolitical angle. So because here's the thing, as AI continues to advance, and now China opened that door, which tells you where things are. So as AI continue now to advance, which the West is going to be playing catch up, there is no doubt about it, because China is not going to stop where it is today. No, what we are witnessing with this Deepseek is just the beginning. So as this AI advances, even I will feel comfortable saying geopolitics, the way you and I know it, it's not going to be the same anymore. So, and the reason being because we as humans, when it comes down to nations, we all are somehow, because when you look at the global order, it is organized in forms of nation states. So, and this is one of the reasons why we have to work together, no matter what. So now the question will become, will AI enable this? Will AI enable all the governments to work together? I have my doubts, but that is my opinion. What do you guys think? Please just share your opinion in the chat box. So, and the idea that if we are to think it's going to go this way as far as collaboration among nations, it could also create some sort of challenges. Some have described it as disruptive capabilities. Of course, this is when if you let it just do whatever. So, and this is where geopolitics and technology come into intersection. They intersect. So that's one of the reasons why you are seeing now differences moving forward regarding where countries are. Monumental scientific advances now in China. We're having a hard time accepting this reality. Why? How dare China to surpass us technologically? It's the same argument that I have made from way back regarding, sorry, I didn't move this picture up, regarding when Obama, way back, and I'm going to take you way back, when Obama passed an executive order to Congress, and Congress issued that order by banning, listen carefully, by banning Chinese astronauts from accessing or entering the ICC, the ICC, International Space Station, ISS, International Space Station. So which was to me, well, where is this cooperation? You are singling out some scientists because you are claiming, oh, it's because of spying and all that stuff, even in space. So what did Chinese end up doing? They end up building their own, and they did. Now China has its own. I wish I can. I'm gonna see if I can get it for you guys. Yeah, I have it right here. I'm gonna share it with you. Let me just show you a picture here, guys, if I could. I want to see one that is very, very clear, so you'll see it. Yeah, right here. Bear with me. And this, where is it? And I give a picture here to Alejo Miranda. She's from Getty Images because that's their picture, and I'm just have to give credit for that. Here's the picture, guys. Take a look. Very, very interesting development, and I see the same thing that is going to be happening here. Right here, guys. This is the Chinese space station. Right there. So they went ahead and built their own. So now they don't need ISS anymore. And let alone that China is coordinating with Russia, which Russia has a major knowledge when it comes down to exploration of space. So that's my point. It's the idea of now geopolitics and technology is going to be now forging together. And China is on the right path for both emerging on the global stage to the forefront and soon will overtake, the US economy, and technologically by having by moving far ahead of the United States when it comes down to quantum computing and now AI. So, and this is where I am saying now how the future of the world is going to be, depending on how we move forward. Economically speaking, when you think about AI, artificial intelligence, within the context of Deepseek, it is my belief that this is going to have a major impact on a global economy, specifically when you think about GDP, the gross domestic product, for the whole world, for that, because it will increase it. It will increase it rather. Some will say, well, how is going to do that? Well, you're going to be looking at the creation of more jobs. Now, some say more jobs and others say new jobs, because if you are to create more jobs, that means you have to get rid of workers. And there is that argument and there is that possibility. But on the other hand, if we are looking at the output of the global economy, how it's going to be, it's going to increase it, that's for sure. Second, it's going to do one major aspect, economically speaking, which we all can benefit from, is transforming industries. So there is no way, I am aware of the possibility of AI could displace workers. So it's because AI will be the future of work, that's the regular work that you and I do. Now, for, let's say, I don't know if there's some domain that you still have to have the presence of humans. So suffice it to say, when we think from the big picture, from an economic aspect, is that the global business, how it operates, it will change. And now this Deepseek is going to pave the way for us to see how this is going to move forward. Think of it this way, guys. Think of this AI is going to be replacing the HR. You all been in the business, you all know the human resources aspects. So, except that it's going to be very, very slightly focused on more than one tasking. This is where I see it moving forward. Now, there is one example that I cannot forget to address, and this one has to do with BRICS. Why is this important? It's because when it comes down to BRICS, because where is this developments coming from? It's coming from China. Who's the main player in BRICS? Is China. Now, there are those who've been arguing in the West, oh, Japan and India are moving ahead in the AI. I respectfully disagree with that assessment. Sometimes they making these arguments, they just to push the narrative. India is nowhere near where it needs to be regarding AI. Japan is nowhere where it needs to be in AI development. Does Japan have the infrastructure for it more so than India? The answer is yes. But when you hear statements about, well, now even India is going to be competing in the AI war, well, India, no, we all know what it is. So, but my point is the BRICS and how this is going to work when you have now, because as you know, BRICS is expanding ever further. More, there are about, to my knowledge, is about 12 countries that's going, or 10 that's going to be joining in the next summit in Brazil, and with other, I think either 12 or 15 on the waiting list. So basically, what you're looking at between the BRICS and between BRI, which BRI has over 159 countries that have signed to it, you can see the role of the AI, what is going to be playing in those kind of forums, in those kind of economic blocks, and how it's going to shape the global economy. Because mind you, like I mentioned yesterday, BRICS is already surpassing the G7 with an output of 36.7% of the global GDP. So then the other thing is you're going to have to think in terms of what this AI is going to contribute from an economic perspective to the global economy. Is going to contribute about $20 trillion between now and 2030. Well, who's taking the lead on that? So, and again, I had a chance to read an article by Michael Scherer, and I'm going to share it with you. So who's going to be taking the lead on that? China, not the US. So that's why we're playing catch up into all this. And I don't think so it's going to work, but we shall see. We shall see. So, Rafael, let me say thank you to you once again. Nope, we need a strong UN. That is her job, sir. Okay, then the UN, and I will have to challenge you, Rafael, on this, as one who, during my years in the government, we used to deal with the UN behind closed doors. UN is toothless. UN has always been toothless. And for a reason, because we are the one controlling the budget of the UN, because it's in New York. So now I see your point, Rafael, that yeah, the UN will have, it has to be some entity that takes over. But on the other hand, UN, look, was the UN able to even stop the war in Gaza? Was the UN even able to stop the suffering that took place in Yemen? Was the UN even able to stop what took place in Rwanda back in the 90s? Or the Ukraine, or the Iraq invasion, or the, what else, in Latin America and so forth. That's my point. But I fully understand where you are coming from. I just wanted to highlight this one to you. And this is where you're going to have to think about the global GDP between now and 2030. You're going to be seeing probably an increase, if I am to guess, probably up to even 4 to 5%, which is substantial. But where it's going to come from? The US? No. It's going to come from the likes of BRICS. So if only they get their act together. I am one of those critical voices that are saying India will have to be pulled out of the BRICS. India is not adding anything to BRICS as of today. Now, could things change with India down the road? Maybe not. I don't know. There are those also who are saying, why are you picking on India, but not, let's say, which other country? South Africa. Well, if you look at where they stand on the global stage or global issues, there's a big difference. There's big difference. I don't see South Africa going and joining Quad and at the same time being on BRICS. South Africa could enter into some trade with Australia, with the US, with UK, whatever, Japan, what have you, but it won't go into something like this. India, on the other hand, is different. And this is my point. So that's where I see the challenge. That is, it's not about picking on India, but rather pointing out where the shortcomings are. So, The third element that I wanted to mention to you has to do with the military dimension to the AI. Why is this? It's because AI is already used in the military, but it will be even used more moving forward. And it becomes the question of how it's going to be governed. Why? Because you are looking at the geopolitical tensions that exist around the world, with more to come. That is where I see the challenge that is coming forward. So when you think about the trade, the tensions that exist between China and the US, so when you think about, for example, and I give credit to iStock, as their picture here, about the AI entering the military domain, how it's going to shape that direction. So all this will come into play a role into what kind of war we will expect moving forward. I remember I did one short vid. It was on the shorts when I talked about the future of wars. It's been a long time since I did that, and I was saying that the war back then, in the future rather, it's going to be just managed by AI. You might not even need soldiers on the ground. So why? Because the geopolitical tensions that are emerging. So, and this is again where that challenge of having some sort of an understanding from all parties involved, all countries, about some specific framework that's going to maintain the boundaries for the military application of AI. Because it's going to have an impact on the global security. So now, do I advocate for any entity to take the lead on this? No, not necessarily. Because if you leave it to that entity, no, it's going to be skewed, or it's going to be not fully developed. Give you a quick example. Let's just, for the sake of argument, we'll say, okay, we want this AI within the military application, its governance be given to the US or be given to the EU. What are the possibilities of that authority being abused, like what we are witnessing right now? There are those also will say, well, you give it to China, the China will abuse it. Yeah, the possibility could be there, but this is what my argument is: you don't give it to one country. It has to be a collective. But how can we be collective if there is no equality regarding the vote, and I go back to your point, Rafael, about the UN, and this is why you still have the Security Council, the 5 permanent members. Why? We should get rid of that. Put things to the vote for everybody, not just some permanent members. And this is where I am seeing the challenges that is going to be. And I will put the link for you guys. It was an article written by Raluca, Cernatoni. It was a great article regarding this aspect of it. So, and this is where I see this challenge moving forward. And militarily, I'm already concerned about what's going to be, what lies ahead, the plans that's going on in Washington right now regarding the Far East. Rafael, once again, thank you very much. You wrote, this is why Russia is not intervening in Gaza. They want UN to understand they need to get stronger on their own. I see your point. You got a point there. Also, Russia trying to avoid any entanglement. I would say the same arguments about China. Do you think China cannot intervene? They can if they want to, but they won't. It's because they don't want to be entangled. That's why they are letting the US be dragged into, like they always say, and there is a saying regarding Sun Tzu, saying that when you notice what your enemy is doing, don't intervene. Let the enemy do it. Let the enemy dig the hole for itself. So that's usually what I see the point for that. Suffice it to say, guys, understanding where this moving forward, there's the military dimension to all this. But what I want to leave you on this good notes, because that's all I have to share with you here. I want to leave you on this good notes. Good notes is that here is now an entity that put AI for all humanity to use. Deepseek, that is. They didn't They didn't monopolize it. They didn't try to profit from it. They didn't, and this is where my big concern now with those big tech getting involved. It's going to be about control, because we're already seeing this here. We're already seeing it, even on this platform. I just saw one of you guys yesterday put a comment that his comment was deleted as soon as he put it up. And I asked, because I didn't delete that. And if I did, I will say so. I don't shy away from that, because I only do that if you cross the line. That's usually where I stand. Same with our community. And I count on your help with this, guys. If there's a troll, once I find that, I will kick that troll out. But the idea that because the algorithm is controlled, so if you do AI even further, no. But I'm seeing the other aspects. The counter argument is that Deepseek, rather, they just put that out, and this is why the West is having a hard time accepting this reality. That's why the author of the first article, Timothy Prickett Morgan, named it as deep fake or deep state or deep sell-off, because this is what the analysts were saying here. They don't want to admit to the truth that an app in China that is surpassed what we've been doing for the last God knows how long. So Rafael, once again, man, appreciate your support. BRICS will always keep India. When they wanted to kick China out of the UN Security Council with India, they said no, and that is special. Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. So it's like a return favor. Is that what it is? Yeah, it's a good point you brought up. But on the other hand, who's going to kick China out of the UN Security Council? Yeah, because nobody can do that. Yeah, the only way to do this one here, Rafael, is to dissolve the UN Security Council, which you have to go through a vote to all members, to all 193 or 90 to 198 members. So that will be one of the aspects of it. Peng Yu, thank you so much for your super sticker. And you're responding to Rafael, UN has lost its meaning. I happen to agree with you on this, Peng Yu. It's because, again, I'm not talking top of my head. I'm talking based on experience. When I was in Washington all those years, whatever, in certain parts of the world, and the UN will come in, we will say, forget about it. This is why anytime there are UN forces deployed, there will never be American forces in that, if you ever notice. Never, ever. So, same thing with NATO. NATO commander military will always be a four-star US general. Non-negotiable. The Secretary General of NATO will be a civilian from Europe because he is under the command of Washington. This is why Europe, it is what it is. So, Rafael, you're answering by saying it's the 50. They wanted to do that. India stopped it. Oh, I see. Back then. Good point. Because I was like, I didn't hear this recently. So if you're talking about back in the 50s, it makes perfect sense. So, but on the other hand, in the 50s, there was no BRICS. And the geopolitical landscape on the 50s differs from the one today. And we can be thinking emotionally when it comes down to the progress, because here's the thing, and I've said this many times, guys, BRICS is about alternative. BRICS is not after domination. BRICS is after creating an alternative, be it financial system, trade system, currency, and what have you. That is the objective of it. And to me, I will applaud that. It's because you look at now just for Cuba. Cuba now will have alternative to conduct business and do with other countries what it couldn't do before because it didn't have any other options. So that's my point. So, but for me, for India, and again, I have nothing against India. I want you guys, especially for those who are watching this video from India and thinking of me, because I read some comments And I kind of, hey, you're free to express your opinion as long as you maintain respect, because I will not allow you to disrespect me no matter what the cost is. But the facts are the facts. All I'm trying to do here is pointing the facts. India is not at a level, economically speaking, where it can be talking about major global initiatives. You can't be doing that if you still have massive poverty, massive crumbling infrastructure, massive shortages, be it in electricity, water, what have you, unemployment, and so forth. And the same argument I will make for my own country. We can't be talking about the rule of law when we couldn't even respect it ourselves. We can't be talking about freedom when we are suppressing the voices of American people right here. So you got my point. That's what I meant when I said this one. So, all right, guys, I hope you find this, and this is one of the things that I usually always address in my speaking engagements. That's what I've been always sharing with when I get invited to speak for some particular audience, be it business, private, or public, meaning government entities, whatever. So you're most welcome, Hank. You're most welcome. So that's usually I will address this kind of issues from this perspective. So it's because you have to understand where things are moving forward. So the companies used to listen to what I have to say. They're not coming to see me because they care. They care about wanting to know how can they save money, because those are investors. I will make the same argument regarding the AI. So, and when I do a presentation, my next, it will be about the impact of the AI on geopolitics. So I will be happy to do that. Anyway, guys, I hope you find this very interesting and informative. And I'm going to be working on some other topics for you for the week.